Yo, what is going on, guys? So in this video, I'm actually going to be breaking down how I like to play defense against the trips tight end formation. Now, this is what I've done the entire weekend league, and throughout the weekend league, I've faced trips tight end in probably, I would say, at least 15 out of my 25 games. So this was the final game of the weekend league for me, and at this point, I've played a ton of games today. I'm very confident in stopping trips tight end right now. So, as you can see, I sit in a cover 3 defense. I user the deep safety, and what I do is I change up my zones, whether I'm going in cloud flats or hard flats or hook zones, and I also cross-man both my linebackers, or 2 of my linebackers, I should say. So, the reason I do this is because a lot of the times in trips tight end, people are trying to attack either with the out route hitch combination or the out route curl to the wide side, or they're trying to hit you with different crossing routes, right? So when they utilize motion like this, as you see right here, basically what they're doing is they're cross-manning themselves. So although it doesn't seem like it should be really good defense, when you start mixing in these crossmans with putting clouds out there or putting hooks out there, you're going to have really tight windows to fit in some of these crossers. Now, playing on the deep safety, what this allows me to do is it allows me to take away all those cover 3 bombs. Typically, trips tight end is really good at attacking cover 3 with 2 streaks and a motioned over corner. And with me being the deep guy, I don't have to worry about that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking away basically the main staples of this offense, right? So you're not going to be able to throw the curl or the hitch because basically I'm going to have a guy sprinting over in man coverage to guard them. The only option you're really going to have is to throw the out route. But if you blindly throw the out route, I'm mixing in hard flats and cloud flats. So basically if you're going to hike throw, you better be really sure that I don't have that out there. And as you can see, I'm mixing in whether I'm pressing or whether I'm leaving off coverage. Basically, I'm just mixing in what I'm doing. But in this video, I wanted to just show you a full defensive, game from me. And as you can see, the hook zones that I have, the manned ups, the safety going deep, you have so many different ways to take away these, really tough crossing routes. And the one thing that this opponent didn't do a good job of is he didn't run the ball. But as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm shifting my D-line over, and I use 3 D-line chems. I'm tired of sitting here with Lurker and all this other nonsense, basically because, yes, although those abilities are good, 3 D-line chems, if you know how to properly adjust defensively, you're going to get insane amount of pressure. And really, that's the thing that I'm looking for, right? Defensively, I'm not trying to do any more than I really need to do. And as you can see, it works because you're going to get pressure, it's going to force quick throws, and then when your opponent is, basically already confused by the adjustments you're making, just that little quick, tick in their head that says, hey, I've got to get this ball out of here, as soon as they do that, it's really going to, play mind games with your opponent because they don't have time. Even if they sit there, they double team, they, try to cut block somebody and roll out, all these things that they can do, they're not going to be able to do it, really well because I have a spy, I'm rushing 3, and I've got zones and man coverage everywhere, right? They don't know what I'm doing on the back end of this coverage. The only thing they do know is that they can't hit me with a deep bomb because my user's back there. They pretty much are going to be forced to dink and dunk every single play, whether it's the out route or maybe a little hitch if they, catch it and time it right, maybe a motion slant. They're not going to have a ton of easy reads, and that's really all you're looking for when you have these 3D line chems. One of the big things I think people make a mistake of doing, especially when they are playing weekend league, is overthinking. When you are overthinking defensively and you're trying to run the 1-4-6s or the 2-3-6 wills, and you see other people locking up with these coverages and you try to do the same thing, you don't realize the different little tendencies that, pro and elite players are able to pick up on. So basically what I'm trying to say is, unless you are at that level, right? Unless you are extremely good with your user, extremely good with recognizing tendencies, and extremely good at reading the field defensively, I don't think those are the best defenses for players that aren't at that level. I think a defense like this, where it is much more kind of open to, I'm not going to get beat deep, they're going to have to, dink and dunk. Those type of defensive schemes, as you see here, are going to be able to bag 99% of your opponents. Now, will you have to make a lot of crazy adjustments when you're facing, an elite player? Of course. But I faced elite players, and even elite players don't like facing defenses like this because, once again, it's going to tick, it's going to speed that little ticker up in your head just enough to make you double guess what you're seeing out there. So basically what this tip is going to be is I want you guys to stop overthinking things defensively. What I think every player can do, and keep in mind, I went 23-2, and even the 2 games I lost, they were issues where I lost offensively. I didn't lose defensively. I think the scores of the games were 24-20, and then, hold on, I'll actually double check. The other game I lost was 17-10. And I ran cover 3 at a 3-3-5 against every single thing I faced, whether it was I-form close, whether it was I-form wing, strong wing. I ran 3-3-5. I ran cover 3, and I just made my adjustments. And are you going to be able to, stop everything in the backfield every time? Of course not, right? But that's not what this type of scheme is built around. This scheme is built around you taking away their main read and seeing if they can make it to their second and third reads. And I can tell you right now, 99% of players can't, especially when you factor in these D-line chems, right? You got to use these Pokemon abilities to the full extent of what they're capable of. So I use 3 of them, right? I've got Clowney, Joey Porter, and Julius Peppers on my defensive line. And those 3 absolutely dominate, and all it takes is one mistake or one, QB pressure, 1 sack on a drive, and their drive's basically over. Because, as you see, I'm not giving up big plays. I think the biggest play I give up in this game might be 10, 12 yards. And, look at the screen right there, right? I've got zones and man people up everywhere. So, offensively, how are you supposed to feel comfortable when I'm making adjustments like this? Now, the things that you got to worry about is you have to worry about cover 3 bombs, right? So when you're facing this, just know that you have to take your safeties, and if they are attacking you with cover 3 bombs, you need to put them in either deep halves or outside quarters. But besides that, you start manning up players, you start IDing different people, or spying different people. It's going to be just a complete headache for your opponent. And I'm telling you right now, I wanted to try this throughout the entire course of the weekend. And like I said, I went 23-2. I locked up pretty much everybody I faced. I think I gave up, after all of the scores throughout 25 games, I gave up less than 200 points. I gave up 20 points in 3 games, 3 different games. So every game before that was less than 20 points. And as you guys can see, I had a pretty successful weekend.